Welcome once again to Deep Web3 Secrets. We have an amazing guest today, the Hive Pizza CEO, Hivetrending, and also purveyor of HiveToday news. Make sure to follow on Twitter and participate in these open and honest discussions about everything decentralized. How are you doing today, Hivetrending?
Hey, happy to be here and talk all things Hive. And yeah, good morning.
Fantastic. And I have put, if you're not doing yet, please do follow Hive Today over on the X or over on the Twitter. We have links in the Discord. If you're watching later on YouTube or some other forum, the account on X is Hive Today. And if you're an enthusiast for Hive, you want to make sure to be engaging some on legacy social media so that other people can be helped to discover Hive. And Hive Trending has been actually a huge I suppose an evangelist or an advocate for helping it to discover Hive.
So cool thing. Most people may not know this, but if you look at that profile, it says block height. You may not know what block height means. There's different terms for it, but basically that shows you the latest block number for the Hive blockchain. And if you refresh, it updates like every 10 seconds or so. So it's a little fun thing.
Oh, it does. Now, so I guess this is a good lead in for HT. Um, I kind of found you as I guess an evangelist or an advocate for Hive, but along with that, you are a huge builder on Hive, and a lot of people on Hive may be using things or touching things that you have helped to build. What what went into this Twitter updater? Talk to us about building this. I guess is a lead in.
I don't remember where I saw it. There was another guy that was doing some similar things for the Bitcoin network, and I took his code and then made it work with Hive. And then I have a Raspberry Pi sitting around that runs this script, and every 10 seconds calls the X API now. I'm still surprised that they didn't start making me pay for the API, so it's still working. They didn't shut me down.
This is an
Um,
amazing comment, maybe about open source. So, are you an open source fan, and how long have you been working in open source?
um, I don't know how long, but yeah, I'm a fan. Stuff like this, why not? Share it around. Everyone can build on top of it. It's great.
That is amazing. So I guess let's reset a little bit. So I've said I've known you as like a Hive advocate, but you do a lot of building. So let's ask two kind of paired questions here. How did you get started in software development, and when did you get into the Hive ecosystem, and how did those two things go together? Because again, people on Hive are using a lot of things that you've had a hand in, and they may be unaware of it.
Right, right. Trying to remember how I got in. At one point I was really into blogging, and my sort of blogging journey led me to the chain that became Hive. Um, and I kind of found it and saw this is it. Like this is great technology, and it's not like the other Web2 platforms out there. It's easy to plug into. Um, People are building. You can build your own front end for it if you want. All of that comes with decentralization, I thought was really neat. So just started building little tools and things like that, and then as you go, you learn, um, you get better at it. The learning is a journey as well, and yeah, just keep finding new things that people need and put them together.
I am so impressed by all the things we have built on Hive, and then to find out that 50% of them have your fingers in it. It was fascinating. But talk to me about the transition from discovering exciting new technology to forming a guild. What is the origin of pizza? And is it just the case that everyone loves pizza, or is there something deeper here?
I actually did not start a pizza project. Um, I came in a couple months after it started, I think. And when I came in, I was interested to build a bot, like a comment bot. And now many people have seen it, but there's a bot that responds in 5 comments and hands out little pieces of pizza, um, to people that are engaging and commenting with each other. So that's how I got involved initially, and then kind of built from there.
And for anyone who doesn't know, pizza is a couple of different things. It is a community on Hive. It is a witness on Hive, and it is a I guess a layer 2 token on Hive. And I have I try to buy a little pizza every week because who doesn't love pizza?
It absolutely is crazy good branding for just for starters. Okay, so I did show a little bit about the bot, and we have the pizza channel. I showed people are getting pizza staked to them, and no, how does that work? Isn't that abusable? Haven't you, ruined your own tokenomics by giving out free tokens?
Not really. It's it doesn't really make a meaningful difference on like token distribution or anything like that. It's just fun. People like it. Maybe they like it a little too much, but there's like limits on how many times you can use it per day and things like that. So it doesn't get out of control. And if someone really goes crazy and starts abusing it, we can talk to them or put put in some countermeasure to slow them down.
All right, so let's talk about the different components of the pizza guild. One of those is the community, the Hive Pizza community, and one of the things that community does, which seems to match well with your efforts to help people discover Hive, is kind of rewarding newcomers or helping with the onboarding process. What has that been like?
Right, that's actually I need to write a post today. Every month on the 14th, I look at nominations. What I do is I invite our community to nominate new people who recently joined Hive, and um, almost all of them that are nominated, they get a delegation of Hive power. And what that does, it's a meaningful delegation. It's 500 Hive power, which for the OGs, you would remember that the upvote slider only appears after you have around 500 Hive power. So before that, it's just the upvotes were up and down, and there's no in between. So that may not be around anymore. But so the point is that getting to a 500 Hive power is a meaningful milestone, and having that much stake, it makes your engagement, your upvotes more meaningful, more powerful. So the idea is these new people coming in, who are participating in the network and creating content, they can be nominated, and then they will have for 1 month they will have this Hive power boost so that they can continue building their stake and having larger votes and things like that.
This is amazing. I did not know this, but I will share an anecdote that 7 or 8 years ago, it was precisely a community effort run by, at that time, it was the Marky Mark. He had eating the ugly frog first contest, and I chose a farm task. I was a homesteader, and I did a post, and I won exactly that, a 500 Hive Power delegation, and that was what it took to maybe make it stick for me. Like, I was like, oh, he didn't give me money. He gave me the ability to interact more, to learn more. And it lasted a month, and he said, do you want it? I do rent this. And I said, no, I learned enough. And it was just that, a delegation, not cash in hand, that got me to stick around in those formative years. Do you have any success cases, any maybe particular pizza onboards that have been quite successful?
I'd like to do more analytics on that. I've talked to a few people about that kind of thing, like going back and looking at people who received the nomination 6 months ago or whatever, and seeing how they're doing now. But that's another thing in my to-do list. I'll get to some point. Yeah, we need more data. That's true.
So let's start talking about some of the things you've built personally. One of the tools, and these are tools on Hive. One of the tools that I use quite often is a tool called Comment Rewarder. And this is like an interesting mechanism, very interesting mechanism on Hive, because what it allows me to do is when my post is curated, so when my post generates some rewards, I can reflect some of those rewards back to people who comment using that comment rewarder. Can you talk a little bit about that and the development of that, how it came about, and maybe where that's going to go in the future?
This was an idea. It was not my idea. Um, it was an idea from a gentleman named Acid Yo. He saw an issue where newer accounts with less stake in the network have an issue with dust voting, where the weight of their votes is smaller, so and less effective. So the workaround was to have this service where you can, instead of relying on your small votes to reward people who engage with you, you can share some of your content creation rewards with people who are engaging with you. So that was the idea. The story of how it came to be is also interesting. It came together pretty quickly, but it was a case where someone has an idea. I see this idea proposed, and I'm like, I can help with that. So I contact him, and we make it happen. So that was a great story.
And I think what we found, there is a gentleman named Dowles, Dalz, Dowles, who does a lot of reporting on different categories of Hive. And one of the things he does is a monthly report that shows the most highly curated accounts. And I believe it was last month where comment rewarder was actually one of the most curated, or one of the most useful, most upvoted, I think, accounts on Hive because of that comment rewarder service.
Right. I think it was actually his measurement of which accounts are set as beneficiaries. So the reason comment rewarder is at the top of that list is because it's required to use the service. You have to say, I set comment rewarder as a beneficiary. Send some of my rewards to comment rewarder for it to hand out. That's how it works.
Yeah, I thought it was a it's kind of a neat indicator that the comment reward or service is being widely used across Hive. So tell us some more things you're building out. Sometimes, yeah, and I will preface this. I have a lot of sidebar conversations with HT, and you build some neat analytic tools. Can you talk about some of those?
Analytic tools. Oh, I think you're talking about the comment stream, maybe.
Yeah. That is amazing.
Oh, comment stream is pretty simple. It's a web page that shows so I would call it a fire hose. And what it shows is comments being exchanged in real time. So because all this data is going into the blockchain, you can do what's called streaming of blocks. So you say, okay, give me the latest block, and then give me the block after that, and you keep on grabbing the blocks one by one, and then you can pull out whatever data is interesting, and then display it. So what that's doing is just saying like, show me all the comments, who's sending a comment to who, and then you can see these discussions happening and click on one of them to go to that discussion and then join in the conversation if you want.
And that's I think this is one of the things that I enjoyed about it. And I've put a I put a GIF up. If you want to really understand how watching the comment stream is like really watching how people are using Hive and weaving different their own stories into Hive. So it's almost like, while it's not green and black and binary, it is like watching the matrix of Hive in real time.
And this
Yeah,
is
it's very
how
alive. It looks kind of like an organism almost.
I see pizza integrated into almost everything. Testing, always on the cutting edge of helping integrate with other people. I also have a synergy project, and a lot of times people, because it as a synergy guy, I'm always telling everybody about what the other guy's doing. Have you found that in your efforts to help and work with anybody, maybe that pizza has not gotten the attention it might deserve?
Attention that it deserves. I think everything needs more attention. Not just me. I think everyone needs more attention. We have a massive problem. I think that we build a lot of really interesting and useful things, but a very great challenge is having finding the people to use all the tools. So I worry more about that. Getting the attention is a big challenge.
Well, that's and Eco may agree with this. This is one of the things in Web3 and the crypto space. On Hive, we actually use Hive. We do things. We write, we play games, we use these tools, these communication tools that may actually make our lives better or more interesting or entertain us. On other manifestations of blockchain, people are like, oh, yeah, I can do this and this, but really it's just token go up, token go down. It's a bunch of hype, but there's not necessarily anything of material use that's built. The idea may be hype that something can be built, but on Hive, people actually build things and then use them, and that is, even though that may sound kind of like an ironic statement, that is probably a novel idea in a lot of the Web3 space, that you actually can use Web3 and blockchain based technologies to do some interesting things rather than just talk about doing interesting things.
Yeah, well, I'd also say I do a lot of it just for learning. I enjoy the learning process. start up some new project, helping someone else or building something I think would be useful. There's always something new to be learned, so I value that.
Holy crap, this is the first time I've ever heard Hivetrending speak. What's up, bud?
Oh,
Welcome to the Deep Web3 Secrets, where we reveal your voice. Well, anyways, this, I don't know if it's a big reveal, but exactly, this is it's Pi Day today, guys. It's March 14th, and all things round and delicious can be consumed today, and that includes pizza. I want to just jump real quick now. Pizza was kind of sleepy, even though you were active. And all of a sudden, bing, bong, boom, boom, the price is shooting up. You've canceled the staking rewards. Some people are buying, some people are dumping, some people are unstaking. What is going on, like, right now with the tokenomics of pizza?
tokenomics is not my subject, but I think it's good. I think that there's new activity, and we have changed our trajectory. There's more things happening. People are waking up, so it's good.
Well, I'm going to post from Travel Decks. I'm going to post a graph into the Discord chat where we're all having this conversation, and there's some pleasant green candles there.
Yeah, I don't really focus that much on price. I care more about people being in the room, having interesting discussions, things like that. The community aspect is more valuable to me. But yeah, yeah. I know people get excited by green candles, so I get it.
You get it. Well, it goes hand in hand. But yeah, if you can, one of the reasons I'm on Hive, I'm not, price isn't irrelevant to me, but I'm not trying to change my life with any wealth derived from Hive or from level 2 tokens. It's a fun, like, side game for me. But I think you nailed something or touched on something important, is the connections, the conversations, friendships that have persisted. Yeah, earlier you said you started doing your blockchain journey on the chain that cannot be named, so Voldemort chain. have some of your
Oh,
have some
yeah.
of the friendships you've made persisted from that time?
A lot of people have come and gone. Some of them are still around. Yeah, I would say so. Some good connections there, and I'm sure people will come back. I'm waiting for that day, and when the price goes soaring and everyone comes back, it'll be a fun day.
I'm interested, just a quick question to you, Ed. Why did you, I mean, as someone coming into the ecosystem, looking around, how did you identify pizza, perhaps during this lower portion of the graph? What attracted you to pizza? What was the first thing you saw? How did you even hear about it?
I think the way I discovered Hive Pizza was probably from a tipping bot. And then I pulled it up and I started looking at the token. And then I went to the token issuer, and then I started sidetracking. And then I found Hivetrending, started reading some of the things that Hivetrending was doing. And then I think I reached out in the community and had some interesting conversations with HT. HT is very tolerant of a lot of boneheaded technological questions that I that I like to ask, because I'm not a software developer, and I don't necessarily understand all the mechanics. Yeah, and so Hivetrending has given me a better understanding of some of the underlying mechanics of Hive, and some of the complexity of building on Hive. And so it's like, yeah, this is this is a project I definitely want to help support. I'm a strong believer of communities on Hive and healthy communities because I think it's a good reinforcing mechanism to keep people engaged and feeling like Hive is a meaningful experience to them. It's the human element of the pro humanity aspect of blockchain technologies.
That's exactly right. And we seem to be having some technical difficulties, but Hivetrending is going to get it figured out for us. But, you know, we have this comment in the chat. This trend is Ed's daily buy. And all of a sudden I went up to this chart again, and I see that at about the beginning of February, you discovered pizza, and you've bought all of these tokens. You've tripled the price, Ed. Was that an expected result?
No, it's just if I like projects, and I think they promote like a useful or a positive mechanism, then I try to go in periodically. And with some tokens, I do a daily buy. With some, it's a weekly buy. I buy things like the vote token. I buy things like Archon that you're involved with. Pizza, just different community tokens that I think are adding some substantial value and some persistent value to Hive.
Well,
I think Hive is how I bought Woo token. I think I actually have some Woo liquidity. I see Bookerman's here in chat, and so Hivetrending is the way I discovered Woo.
Well, this is actually a great bridge here. Now, first, I want to just touch on Hivetrending again. Whose idea was it to have partners? You know, so pizza is a guild. Talk a little bit more about what that means. How did you get the first partner?
And you hear me? Oh, cool. Okay. So yeah, we in 2021 we had a lot of people coming in, and I don't remember how we talked to Bookerman or the other games, but we wanted to just help people discover some of these great projects. One of them is Woo, so we started collaborating, and we were able to do like live shows just like this one where Bookerman came in and talked to people about what he's building. So that kind of came together like that.
Uh, Amazing. And we could just get Bookerman on the air right now. Bookerman is an incredible ally for anyone. Let's just ask Bookerman. I mean, Bookerman, how did you meet pizza?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and children of all ages, it is Bookerman here yet again, cutting a promo. This time, we're talking about Hivetrending, we're talking about Hive Pizza, and of course, we're talking of. But how it all happened, it was actually really quite amazing. We were just starting on the chain. When we came on, I'm talking Wrestling Organization Online, we had no Hive connections. Like we had the only introduction to Hive we really had was through Splinterlands. And then going through seeing things like how you can do pack contracts and all of that through tribal decks. And after a quick message with Aggie, he pointed us to a way that we could very cheaply get our stuff up and running. And when we did that, we very quickly ran into the Pizza Guild. I know Beard was a part of it at the time, Hivetrending, obviously. And we started having talks and discussions about how we can work together. And I will say this, without the Pizza Guild, Woo would be nowhere near where it is today. It was like a steroid shot in the arm in terms of community, because they sent people to our Discord. People were joining our Discord. People knew about our project for the most part because of pizza. It was the biggest support for us when we started. I am forever grateful. We love pizza. I know I'm one of the largest Rest Oregon Line's one of the largest account holders of the pizza token. They've all been staked from day one. We've never sold any of our pizza. We don't care if we're getting staking rewards. We're locking it up. It might as well be burnt at this point. It's not going anywhere. We love pizza, and again, that gave us such an injection of a community where we started off on the best possible foot we could. And again, we're forever grateful to that community. And then also, they've done some really cool stuff even for our wrestlers. For example, pizza, they ended up buying Perry Saturn a literal pizza. we we've been in their Discord, Perry Saturn included, talking and hanging out, and doing shows with that community. And again, we're forever grateful. I have nothing but good things to say about Hivetrending, especially as being a developer on Hive. He has helped me and my team with problems without question. We'll come to him, ask him a question, and he'll be there to help out. And I have nothing but good things to say about pizza and Hivetrending. I love you guys.
Amazing, amazing. And I'm going to just step in here so Hivetrending doesn't feel like he has to respond to that, but I'm sure he's quite grateful.
I'm blushing.
He's blushing. And I love that. And thank you, Ed, for sharing that rich list. Can I just get Bookerman? Just go ahead in the chat. I need a picture of this. I need Perry Saturn's pizza. We got to see this.
I'm gonna have to look through. I think we made a post about it. I have to look through. I know it's in the Hive Pizza Discord, because we did literally send a picture of the pizza, maybe even a video of thank you. I can't remember off the top of my head. I'm gonna have to scroll through the Discord real quick. Give me a moment.
All right, so since it is Pi Day, and we can interpret that as Pizza Pi Day, we have to ask probably the most important question about pizza. Does pineapple belong on pizza? I'll let Hivetrending answer that first.
Well, you know my answer. I'm a pro pineapple. I'm in that camp.
I'm a little embarrassed now. You put me on the spot. I am firmly in the anti-pineapple camp, and that is as a man who grows pineapple. I have increased my pineapple production to 400 plants, and none of them will go on a pizza.
Right.
I think it's because you are doing pineapple for work, so you cannot enjoy it.
I'm gonna answer this with the interesting perspective. So I spent 20 of my years, 20 of the adult years of my life living in Hawaii, married a Hawaiian. When my wife was young, she worked in an Italian restaurant owned by Italian immigrants who brought a pizza oven over. So an oven that was manufactured in Italy. They did not put pineapple on pizza. I like pineapple and ham on the same pizza. I would just say don't call it Hawaiian pizza, because pineapples are not native to Hawaii, even though they're associated with Hawaii because of the Dole plantation and Dole foods. I like ham and pineapple on the same pizza. Just don't call it Hawaiian.
That is fascinating. And, you know, it's one of those fun things you could talk about with your friends, obviously. I don't know that there's actually armies marching for pineapple on pizza or to keep it off the pizza. Oh, my gosh, you posted that cold beetroot soup. But we were talking about woo, and I just want to turn that upside down and see when moon Hivetrending.
Yeah, when moon indeed. Let's talk about it.
All right, so now what is moon? You've got me mystified. I may have missed an important milestone. Can tell us about moon, and it looks like Eco is going for all the links. What is moon, Hive Trending?
We're bringing back a game, and we're calling it Moon. The game is extremely fun. It's There it is in the chat. Um, we're testing right now, but what it is a space themed game where you build an empire and you can attack your friends. Um, and it's a blast.
All right, I'm looking at this now. So when you say it's a space empire game, are there resources or building things like Eve or ooh, I'm looking at graphics that Eco is posting in the Discord server. Along with that, so give us a little bit more background on that. But I also heard you just say we're bringing it back. Was this something that had started earlier?
Yeah, it's an open source project, so we will also open source this when we launch it. But it's I don't even know when it started. It's pretty old code base, but it's extremely well balanced. It's functional. We're playing it right now. The game is running. I can show you how to join us and help test it. But there's my planet, the Krusty Krab. Um, it's fun. Eco has an arch nemesis in the game who is causing him heartburn. Um, I don't know if we should talk about that, but it's a lot of fun.
Oh, that's amazing. I thoroughly encourage the abuse of any kingdom that Eco may establish in a game, but only in the game.
Okay,
Oh
guys, I
no.
put in some links. I am currently 3-1 against Justin's son. He will be destroyed by my space empire. But this is a fun game. This is a game that, as Hive Trending mentioned, it's originally was built by GameForge in the early 2000s. It was very popular in Germany. And recently we discovered that other forks exist, and maybe even there's a version which I'm looking into, but it looks a little bit different. I think they made some changes to it. But there is a version on BSC, which may not be as cool as our version. But basically, this is a tried and true, balanced and battle-tested game. And we want to bring it to Hive with some unique twists. Now, one thing, maybe Hive Trending, you're the right one to talk about this. This game existed on Hive in the past, right?
Yeah, it did. I think they shut it down in 2020, if I remember correctly. But it was around, and there were tons of people playing.
Does anyone
I've
have
already got.
any memories of Steam Nova?
Wow,
That's
that's
that's,
going
that's
back some years. So I guess the important question here, so it's for Hivians. Will it actually use the Hive blockchain, and how will it tie back into the Hive blockchain? And I see Solo Miner, as some people may know him on Hive, said, yeah, used to play it all the time.
Yeah, definitely we've talked a lot about how to integrate it with Hive. It's not going to be like a deep integration where every single action is written to the blockchain. That may not make sense to do that, but we'll have things like Hive accounts. You could use your Hive account to log in. We talked about other ideas like every active Hive person who's blogging or commenting will have a planet. Well, almost like we're airdropping a planet to them, and then you could launch your missiles at your buddies, and they don't even need to be playing. So we're thinking about things like that for integration.
I'm just wondering if Block Trades is going to log in just to send a missile at a proposal he might not like.
We want more villains too. We're thinking about ideas for more villains so that you can vent your rage at whoever you want.
Now that would be a very interesting way to settle proposals. you have to you have to defend your proposal kingdom, or the alliances in the game would determine would determine the distribution of DHF funds. That would be amazing.
Yes, so we have a lot of these interesting ideas, and I just want to celebrate with Hivetrending. I believe that in terms of integration, trying to force things onto the chain that don't need to be onto the chain is somewhat of a noob mistake. And I believe this integration is going to avoid most of those things. And we're actually going to look at creative ways to integrate Hive instead of trying to force something that already works into the blocks for some reason.
That makes sense. That makes sense. When things are organic and putting things on chain has a strong utility, I think that makes sense. But just moving something to be moving it. Yeah, and I am now registered for Hive Nova. I guess I've got to name my planet. I don't even have any fleets to hide yet. But yeah, I need to build up my forces so I can go conquer Eco.
Awesome. Just a warning. We're going to wipe the universe, but when we actually launch it, so don't get too attached to your planet.
Got it.
Oh,
well,
good point.
Buckcoin says he's happy to be the butthole. Maybe there should be maybe there should be a cataclysmic butthole event that wipes the universe.
Well, exactly that. I'm happy you said that. I was so excited I forgot. Anyone now and listening to this, you're invited to go. But currently, for the next few weeks, we are finalizing the testing. And so this is a doomed universe. What you can get out of this universe is learn about the game and get ahead of your rivals for when the real launch comes. Because this is a slow play game. It's a strategy clicker where you can log in once a day or twice a day. And it's very well balanced. It's designed so that if you're active, there's very little damage another player can do to you. But if you're inactive, you can become profitable to attack. So there's some economics maybe in the game as well. And it's very, I'm very excited about the potential, especially when we bring that back to the chain and somebody suddenly gets a comment that Eco has missiled their planet.
Yeah, I like it a lot. There's Compared to other Web3 games, there are things like fog of war and time management. There's travel time between locations, so you have to think about all of that at the same time, managing resources.
Well, with a crossover with Woo, it seems only natural that somewhere there should be a Perry Saturn or a Perry Saturn moon.
So many good crossovers here, guys. So this is exciting. And keep the ideas coming, guys, and definitely participate in our test universe here with Hivetrending. And is this pizza? I notice it's on the pizza domain, but do you think about how or maybe if pizza token might be integrated?
Yeah, we've definitely thought about that. There are some elements of the game where you can, um, it's not like pay to win, but You can pay for services like relocating a planet. I think we discussed it costs like thousands of pizza in order to do that. So there are things you can spend on, but there's no like giveaways like just play to earn. It's not like that. It's just play for fun. But about doing some like contests around launch, like the first player to build a planetary fortress gets a prize, something like that. But yeah, we'll think about what makes sense for incentives.
All right, so there's an interesting observation from the cold beetroot soup team, and they do a lot of advocacy for Hive. And cold beetroot soup earlier said we got a cool game built, but never got a chance to connect it with Hive. And then kind of the follow-on thing is hoping someday someone will be able to connect our Unity built game to Hive. And since we have a builder here, how much work has been done with connecting some of these different projects to Hive? Who has implemented that well? Would you say, HT?
I'm not sure about Unity. I know there are a few people that have looked into Unity for their games, and they may have some like shared login component or something that other developers can take advantage of, but I don't know of them offhand.
I do have some inside knowledge here. Unity has been a particularly tough nut to crack. There have been some bespoke attempts, but because no one maybe has ever done it in an official way, the next guy tends to start over. But recently, I've heard some good things about Spirit Surge. And you say Holozing. Spirit Surge has just teamed up with Holozing. And I believe that team up is related to the Unity connection. So it may be the case that finally someone will solve this. And if it is solved, it would be then released. The problem is no one has ever really solved it yet. So, maybe we don't have any bespoke code to work off of. But I believe that technical challenge is on the docket for this year.
And then the following comment I see in the chat is that cold beetroot soup says that Arcade Colony has solved this. All right. So, Hivetrending, pivoting away from games for just a moment, what are some of the other projects that you're working on right now? What are some of the tools that you're building?
Pretty much, I'm really focused on getting this game up and running right now. But I kind of paused some other stuff. We did the Blue Sky Posh, and the idea there for now is whenever someone shares a link to Hive content on the Blue Sky uh, network, I guess you can call it, we will detect that and then we will add a comment on Hive saying, "Hey, someone shared your post." So um, that just creates some awareness that the sharing is happening, and then yeah, that's up and running now.
Now, just for anybody who may not be fully aware of Posh, and so someone who's not necessarily tapped into all the features of the Hive ecosystem, what is Posh and what does it do?
Yeah, Posh is proof of sharing, um, kind of a play on proof of brain, which I guess I should explain too. But so the idea is when someone shares content, um, they get rewarded for the act of sharing it. So contributing to the network effect is incentivized. So you share a link to a blog, the blog shared on some other platform does well, it gets upvoted, people respond to it, things like that. So that outside engagement becomes rewarded through Posh.
Very good. And Posh is a level 2 token on Hive. So you've
That's
extended
correct.
that. So Posh is on Reddit. Posh is on Blue Sky. Posh was on Twitter, but when Twitter went to X and Musk kind of changed around some of the functionality of the API, that kind of made that a little bit more challenging, right?
Right. We looked at the pricing tiers and how much usage we had for um pulling in the tweets or X posts, and it didn't make sense for us to pursue the level of API tier that we need to run that project. So the decision was made to shut that down, unfortunately.
But Twitter is still one of the Twitter X is still one of the great kind of discovery spaces for Hive. And I know, like, when I put up a lot of content on Hive, like, or excuse me, content on Twitter, if it's like short videos and things, I actually try and brand it with, I try and brand it with some Hive markers, whether it's something for 3Speak or Peak D or in Leo or eSensi here recently to help people discover it. And so that's kind of a big thing. And I always encourage people, if you do have these legacy social media accounts and you do see some things going over there, and we mentioned this at the beginning of the show, you actually run an account on X called HiveToday that helps people discover Hive content. So please make sure to follow that. And another one of our Hive community members, Forky, has actually started a Hive community to try and do a lot of things there. And I can actually tie this back to Hive Pizza. When I do video content on Twitter, one of the people that I met through the Hive Pizza community is Raven Music. And Raven Music makes and produces license free music content, and I've started adding that to some of my videos and giving her a shout out when I do that.
Yeah, awesome.
Hey, Ed, can you grab? I couldn't find Raven's Twitter, but throw that in there. I have loved that integration. And maybe this is just kind of a good place for us to, you know, explain once again what is the superpower of decentralization. Everybody's doing their own thing, they're not obligated to talk. So why is this better than the old way of centralized, constructions? I mean, Hivetrending, what is your opinion on this? There was a time a year and a half ago in the winter bear that maybe some people were thinking that it wasn't viable, that decentralization, doesn't work.
Well, I was thinking about this for Hive today. Like anybody could do this. My time gets stretched pretty thin. So that's why I have to pause projects here and there. Hive today, I used to crank out a blog post every week, and then life gets in the way and I can't do that anymore. But um anybody else can do exactly what I'm doing. That's the decentralized aspect. Go make a new Twitter account and start sharing things. Experiment with it, and you can find something that works better than what I'm doing, and that would be awesome.
Yeah, I'm happy to just lay down some of my thoughts because I believe that even though in any one moment it doesn't necessarily look like an effective structure, the experiment and iterate without permission is really powerful. And I believe we've mentioned it several times in this chat, things that were done before, things that died out, things that were brought back. As long as the code's open source, you could always bring it back. So this experimentation and iteration around what works, I think, is the superpower, more than just blockchain, but beyond that to the open source and other, copy left and stuff like that. Ed, what do you think? What do you think about the future of intellectual property in an open source world?
No, that's kind of like a big thing. That's kind of like a big thing. Blockchain probably makes some provisions to reward content or intellectual property creators while still allowing other people to leverage that and make full use of it. In kind of an interesting way, maybe more an accessible way. And I don't think we fully utilize some of the new technologies that we have in some of the new sort of decentralized or automated mechanisms that we have. I think there's a lot of ways to make things available for people to use, kind of where they can through an automated mechanism they can ask permission or make use of that. Just a lot of the ways that intellectual property is treated now, by the time you could possibly negotiate for the right to use it, your use case may have already expired, right? Or your interest in something may have expired. Or if I want to play like 5 minutes of a song, I'm never going to generate, $5,000 worth of value for out of that. I might generate five Hive worth of value, and I'd be more than happy to pass that along to someone. So I think decentralization and some of the potential implementations of blockchain could expedite that. I don't think some of these old mechanisms, these existing mechanisms, really mapped well to the environment we're in now, because some of these things move so fast. And the window for a meaningful use case for some of these things is so brief that the old mechanisms just can't keep track. They don't offer utility in the current system. I'd be curious to see what Hivetrending thinks about that.
I was going to ask you, do you remember, were you around when GeoCities was a thing?
I was. I think I had a GeoCities. I think I made a GeoCities page for one of the. Have you ever heard the term MUD? A multi-user dungeon. It was like a text-based kind of multiplayer game.
Oh, yeah.
I think I made a GeoCities page for one of the MUDs I played. What was it called? Ancient Anguish, which was an LP MUD. If that means anything to any of our listeners.
Yeah. I was just thinking recently about this. GeoCities was kind of decentralized. Like, it didn't have the tokenization, but it had the aspect of anyone can design a terrible web page and throw it up there. Um, and that kind of fizzled out over time. We had this trend of centralization. The peak of that is like Facebook, I guess, where Facebook does not allow you to customize hardly anything. And then now we're kind of transitioning from that centralization to the Web3 aspect, where it's a new frontier almost, reopening of the frontier.
Well, I will say just briefly, since GeoCities has been introduced, I think the component of quality web design that I learned from that era is that the quality of your page is directly correlated to the number of garish and horrendous animated GIFs or GIFs that you have on your page. And I think on GeoCities, there was probably an unwritten rule that you needed to have at least a dozen animated GIFs.
That's true.
Is that the origin of our GIF obsession? I never connected that, but I think you're right.
I distinctly remember like a shiny silver skull that would rotate around, and I put 30 of them on my page.
And
What?
if you were a fan of some like RPG or something, you needed like a flaming torch, you know.
What a throwback. And we're going to continue the unrecorded after show, but this has been Deep Web3 Secrets with Hivetrending, the pizza witness. Thank you so much for joining us today. And until next time.